First off, I want to congratulate you guys for joining the course and taking the initiative to invest in yourself. There's a quick saying that says that your network determines your net worth, and quite frankly, there's no better investment in my eyes than the investment in yourself. So let's go ahead. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump right in. This first part is going to be about the introduction to the business world and selling on Amazon. So the first thing you want to do, guys, when you're getting ready to start out, is create a DBA, which is a form of a sole proprietorship, or an LLC, which stands for Limited Liability Company. Now, I'm not really authorized legally to give you guys any type of consulting or anything like that. That's something you want to consult with a lawyer or do your own research. But I am going to give you my opinion, and I'm going to tell you how I did it. Starting out, I did a DBA, which is doing business as, and I was a sole proprietor. Now you're only allowed to have one DBA, and what that is basically is you use your Social Security instead of your EIN. Which when you're starting out, that's fine. If you start out with a DBA or a sole prop, you can definitely upgrade or transfer the entity to limited liability company or LLC, which is what I recommend. Just depending where you're at starting out financially. But if you can afford to start the LLC, I recommend getting it and just getting it over with and starting with that. That's going to help shield your personal assets a little bit differently. It's going to be an actual classified entity other than you doing business as yourself. So that's what I recommend. So I'm going to show you really quick how to go ahead and get your EIN if you want to do a sole prop or a DBA. You can head right over to the IRS website. So in Google, just type in IRS EIN. You'll pop up on this website. Let me go back here, leave page. You'll pop up to this website. Go ahead and click on sole prop individual, and you'll see right here on the side. It'll show you a little bit of facts and why to choose this, so on and so forth. But go ahead and click on sole proprietor individual. This form will pop up, and you want to go ahead and follow that form. It should take 15 minutes tops. It's real simple. Up here you can see a little bit about what a sole proprietor is. A sole proprietor is an individual who owns a company that is not incorporated or registered with the state as a limited liability company, LLC. Sole proprietors may or may not have employees. So this is one way to do it. When I created my DBA, I went to the county recorder's office, which is right across from the courthouse where I live. Now you might want to Google that or ask somebody from where you live. That's the cheapest route. There's a little bit more extra steps. That cost about $25 to do. So I couldn't see this online application costing more than $50. But for some odd reason, it does cost more than $50. I would go to the county recorder's office and go ahead and sign up directly there. So that's sole proprietorship, DBA. Let's go on and move forward. Let's say you want to create the LLC, limited liability company. There's a couple different websites which I'm sure you guys are familiar with, which is going to be LegalZoom and Rocket Lawyer. I use Rocket Lawyer for everything. LegalZoom is good. I hear a lot of good things about LegalZoom. The prices are about the same. I've just been using Rocket Lawyer for a long time. I use it for all my cease and desist. I use it, which we're going to get into that in a couple different videos down the road, but I use them for a couple different things. But you can scroll down to the bottom here. You'll see you don't need the premium. You don't need this trial. You don't need the attorney's advice. You don't need the trial. You don't need any of this stuff. So just to get the cheapest one, it's going to be $99 plus your state filing and fees. Okay. Let's go over to Rocket Lawyer. Rocket Lawyer is about the same thing, $99 plus state fees, which is the going rate. But these are two accredited websites, and I definitely recommend doing that. It should only take about a couple days to a week tops for everything to get filed, and you get everything back in the mail. Once you get that, you're good to go. You can create an account, an Amazon seller account without this, but this is going to save you a lot of steps down the road. That way you can just focus and stay tuned on selling and turning more of a profit. I recommend getting it out the way when you start. That way, you don't start selling a bunch of stuff and you say, "Oh crap!" Now they're asking for this information. They want the legal entity classifications. When am I going to pay taxes? So on and so forth. I recommend, if you guys are going to take this serious, which obviously you are because you purchased the course and you're interested in studying this and learning this, knock out the entity classification right away. So with that being said, let's move on to the next section: keeping track of expenses and profits, as well as when to pay taxes. Like I said earlier, I recommend a LLC, limited liability company. This is going to help shield your personal assets and help with more protection. But keeping track of expenses. Now you can do this in Notepad. You can do this. You can handwrite this. If you don't have Excel or you don't have numbers, I use numbers, and I put something real generic and real quick together for you guys. So I went ahead and labeled this June. We're in June right now. It's June 12th. P&L, which stands for profit and loss. Example, of course, for the course. Now down the road, once you guys start making 20, 30,000 a month, you can explore different platforms like QuickBooks and different platform accounting softwares that do this automated for you and help keep everything really neat. Currently, I use QuickBooks. I believe it's $40 a month, which is a no-brainer for the amount of money and headache that it saves me. Because my bookkeeper actually has my login information set up underneath a accountant tab that you can create for them, and they go in there, and she can go in there and she can import everything, and she can handle everything, and she can organize everything, and then email it directly to the accountant, which then files my taxes. This is down the road, don't worry about that right now. And I know there's going to be a lot of information cram-packed into this course, guys. So if you guys need to pause it, take notes, or you need to pause it, do one step, then play it and go back, please feel free to do so. I just want to make sure that you guys have everything that you need, and everything that I didn't know, that I spent a lot of time learning the hard way instead of learning and focusing my time, on selling things and product research and growing myself as well as my business. So with that being said, this is numbers. You can use Excel. I put up here on the side fidget spinner. No, I don't sell fidget spinners. It's oversaturated. It's a very difficult item. There's several patents in China, so on and so forth. But you want to put your item here off to the side. Up front in the first bracket, we have COG, which stands for cost of goods. This is terminology in the retail world that you guys want to get familiar with. Down the road, your accountant's going to ask you these. You're going to hear your accountant using this terminology. When you talk to suppliers, you talk to manufacturers, you're going to hear them using this different terminology, and you definitely want to make sure that you familiarize yourself with this. So COG is cost of goods. This is how many units you purchased and how much the units cost you. So I rounded all these. This isn't a realistic number. I rounded all these so it'd be real easy so I could show you quickly. But let's say you purchase 1,000 units of fidget spinners at $1 a unit, free shipping. Your all-in cost of goods is going to be $1,000. Okay? The COGS is cost of goods sold. So at that 1,000 units, say you sell them at $5 each, you're looking at $5,000. Okay? That's the cost of goods sold. In the third bracket, I have advertising, which right here is PPC. If you branch into to Facebook or Instagram, or you do Google AdWords, or whatever you do down the road, include all that for that item. But we're going to keep it simple and say you just did PPC. Say 10% of your final value, so $500. Okay. And then in the fourth bracket, we have Amazon FBA fees plus referral fees. So the FBA fees is how much it's going to cost for you to store your product in the facility, and they have a proprietary formula that goes based off the cubic volume which is length times width times height, as well as seasonality and weight. The turnover, the amount of units you sell per day, per week, per month is an actual figure. Nobody knows the exact algorithm or the formula. This is something that they have that's proprietary to them. But let's just say this is $1,000, okay, for argument's sake. And the fifth and final bracket is the net for fidget spinner. So this is a net. This is your profit. This is the take-home profit that you're going to get your return on investment. And how I found this is the cost of goods subtracted the advertising cost, subtract the FBA fee and referral fees, then subtract your cost of goods. So that will leave you with a $2,500 profit. And that's how you do this. Now, I recommend doing this weekly and monthly. Break it into brackets so you see June. So this could be week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. And get in the habit of start staying organized, because then once you start to accumulate a lot of money, it is illegal not to pay taxes and to neglect that. So starting out, I created a big mess for myself. I didn't know anything about taxes. I didn't know how to pay them. I didn't know when to pay them. We went from $20 a month in sales to over $150,000 really quick, and I knew I had to pay taxes. I went and talked to the tax lady. At the time, I didn't have a bookkeeper, and it was just a mess. And I had to pay her thousands of dollars, and I mean thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, to go through the books, go through each platform, gather the 1099, see my gross sales. Then I had to try to track down my expenses, and it was just a nightmare. So this is something that I recommend right off the bat, guys. It kind of sucks. If you have a wife or a girlfriend or somebody else helping you that's good with this stuff, maybe have them help you with it. But if not, just grit your teeth and just grind forward with it. As soon as you start bringing in some dough, I recommend going with QuickBooks. It's very automated. You don't have to mess with spreadsheets, and just move forward with that. But I'm telling you guys, this is going to save you a lot of headaches keeping track of your sales. Something else you guys want to do is keep track of your expenses. So a way that I do that is in Gmail. One way that you could do it is in Gmail, creating a folder called expenses. Now, anything that you buy for your business, once you classify, is a tax-deductible expense. Now, we're not going to get into what you can claim and this and that, because, once again, I can't give you legal information like that. But I'm going to give you my opinion. So expenses, anything from paper to a computer to a pen, definitely your inventory, shipping cost, anything that's business related like that you spend, that you use solely in your business, is an expense. Keep physical receipts. A lot of times if you buy something online, they'll ask you, how would you like the receipt? Definitely have it emailed. Set up an email where you're going to keep everything organized. Not an email where you get a lot of spam and your friends email you. Set up a side email, so the name of your business, let's just say the name of your business expenses, or the name of your business books at gmail.com, something like that. And keep all of your expenses in there. Like I said, don't have this go to your main email where you get stuff from Burger King and you get stuff from Walmart and all this junk mail and spam. Have it set up just for your business, where you're going to get all your expenses, all your important emails from Amazon, so on and so forth. And use this one when you're creating your account as well. That way everything's documented, everything's in one email. This is definitely advantageous. But like I said, go ahead and create a folder in Gmail, okay, called expenses. And every time you make an online purchase, let's say you purchase paper from Amazon, or labels from Amazon, or a scanner or a scale from Amazon, whatever it may be that you need. When they email you that receipt, go ahead and put it into the expenses folder or the receipts folder. Now, when it gets time to pay taxes, because these are tax deductions, okay? Um, Uncle Sam takes enough of your money, guys. You definitely want to keep track and stay organized on these expenses. You'll have a nice detailed report. Everything will be in one place for expenses that you purchase for your business. This is something I wish I would have done as well. Like I said, it cost thousands of dollars for my bookkeeper to go through PayPal and go through my Gmail and go through Amazon and so on and so forth. So I'm trying to save you guys time, a headache, as well as money. So let's move on forward here. How much should I start with? And this is excluding the cost of this course, guys. So we talked a little bit about DBA LLC costs. The DBA is about $25. The LLC, limited liability company, is going to be $99 plus your state filing fees. Okay, so let's just tally this up, and I'll give you guys a total here. Let's just say you go with the LLC. Let's say your state filing is $25. So let's call that an even $125. Okay. Your account cost. Individual sellers account are free. Once you start selling, upgrade to a pro account, which is $39.99 a month. So that's what I recommend all you guys doing. Start out with an individual account. As soon as you find your product and you get your inventory shipped to the fulfillment center and you're ready to start selling, go ahead and upgrade to that pro account and pay that $39.99 a month. Take it serious, guys. Just go nose deep, and I'll show you why here. Let's go ahead and go over here to the compare tab. This is just Amazon services. When you get ready to sign up for Seller Central, it's going to come to this dash. It's going to show you professional. It's going to show you individual. Now ignore this. The monthly subscription fee for a professional is $39.99. For an individual, it says not available. It's free. Okay? But here's the big thing. Selling fees. So for professional, it's referral fee as well as a variable closing fee. Okay, we talked about the variable closing fee. It's kind of a finder fee. It's a small fee that they charge on top of your FBA fees. eBay has it. All these platforms have it. It's just a small fee for you getting access to this large traffic. But with individual, not only do you have the referral fee and the variable closing fee, you have an additional 99-cent per item fee. So this adds up really quick, guys. I mean, if you sell more than 40 items a month, right now this is paid for. And with the methods that we're going to talk about in this course and the PPC, and in the in-depth detail that I guide you guys with, you're going to be selling more than 40 units in 1 week, let alone 1 month. So you definitely want to go with the pro. But until you get your products and you actually list and start selling, go with the individual. Save the money, because that $39.99 starts once you click and you activate that. Okay. And there's some more information on here. You guys can read that. Like I said, that's on Amazon services. Once you click into create an account. Okay. So let's go ahead and let's add that to our tab. Let's say you go with the pro account. You have inventory on the way. You're ready to crank this thing up. So let's round that to a whole number. Let's round that to $40. Okay, we got that totaled. Let's move on to product cost. Now, I get this question all the time. How much should I start out with, guys? How much is a good number to start out with? How much do I need? And it's really difficult to answer this because product costs can range from $1 to $500. It depends on what you're going at. Now, I'm going to be talking in this course later about what price range you want to be at when you're sourcing product and what price range you want to sell at based off of certain studies and psychological numbers. But like I said, this depends on your product that you choose. In reference to unit amount, you want to start out with no less than 100 units. Okay, you might have people tell you that you can do 10, you can do 15. If you're going to do retail arbitrage and there's only 15 units, obviously you can't source more than that. I'm not really into retail arbitrage. I'm going to be talking a little bit about it. but I'm strictly P&L and wholesale, which is private label. But you don't want to get less than 100 units. If you find a magical product and it's a little bit more on the expensive side, buy as much as you can. Maybe look into using a credit card or getting a loan. Ask family members to borrow you some money, maybe parents, maybe a brother, a sister. Um, Look into different startup capital loans, so on and so forth. And if you find a real magical product that's not saturated, that you think you're going to get a good ROI on, and you go and you pitch this to your parents or your sister, your brother, or your girlfriend, or your boss, or whoever, um, show them the numbers. Show them the numbers. This is going to be the product acquisition cost. This is going to be the amount of projected advertising cost. This is going to be the ROI, or the net profit. Okay, and then make sure you show them when they can expect a return on their investment. So if you get a loan from them on the first of the month, tell them, hey, I have enough to cover this amount of units, so I can pay you back off my units here or there, and show them this is how I'm coming up with this information. Um, Similar products are selling this much a day, this much a month. So based off that percentages, I can make an educated guess that I should be able to have the funds by this date. And when they see that you really in, that you have your numbers, you have a business plan, you have everything in order, they're gonna feel more confident helping you with the money or loaning you the money. Sometimes I even offer a little incentive. I've had to borrow money from my mom, my dad, from my brother sometimes. I tell them, hey, I've got this killer product. I've got a lot of my funds allocated and tied up right now in other investments. I need to borrow A. I'll give you B. So in other words, hey, I need $1,200 to source this product. It's selling 75 units a day. I can pay you back in 2 weeks. It's going to take about a month to get the product manufactured. 6 weeks, I'll get you back. And I'll tell you what, if you borrow me the $1,200, I will give you a 10% return on your investment. So I'll give you $120 back. Now that's something, that's typical. That's typical in the lending world. So think about that. You can't get 10% return on investment anywhere. Not in the bank. It's really hard in Wall Street. Real estate's going to be the only place that you get a nice 10% besides Amazon. So that's another thing that you can use as leverage. Okay. Right here, you'll see in quotations, I recommend 250 to 500 units. If you can afford it, if you can't afford it, order as much as you can. If you have a network or a carpool, a best friend, family, relatives, so on and so forth, if you have good credit, you have credit cards, your parents have credit cards, then go ahead and do what we just talked about. Show them the metrics, tell them the amount you need, and give them an exit plan for when they'll receive their funds, and how you promise that you're going to get those funds to them. If it's a good product, guys, I recommend 250 to 500. And the reason I do is because if it's a good product and you do the research and it's selling 300 units a day, okay, 300 units a month, that's, between 10 and 12 units a day. That's the minimum that we're going to look for. If you find a really good product, it could be selling 5,000 units a month, okay, and you can be out of product in 4 or 5 days. Now, if it takes 3 weeks for your manufacturer to manufacture the product, then another week for them to send it to the United States, and for the fulfillment center to receive it, allocate it, then disperse it. Now, each day you're losing hundreds or possibly thousands of dollars. So that's why I really recommend not rushing into it, guys. I know a lot of people, they get the course, they're fired up, they want to get in here, start making money. Once you start doing your product research, if you find a good product, try to shoot for that 500 units. Try to shoot for that 1,000 units. If you believe in the product, once you find that magical product, you do not want to run out of stock. It is the most depressing thing ever when you're making, $1,000 a day, or, let's dumb it down. If you're making $200 a day starting out, that's crazy. I made that, I started out minimum wage. I was making that after taxes a week, and I was working my face off. So if you're making $200 profit a day, and then you run out of inventory because you didn't allocate the the necessary amount of funds for inventory, you could lose in 2 weeks. Let's say 14 days times two, you're looking at $2,800 in profit lost, in sales lost. So really think about that, and once you find the product, definitely try to get the funds to purchase this. You might establish a good relationship with your supplier, and they might work out net terms with you. I have net terms with a couple of my suppliers, and what net terms are is they have net terms based on 15, 30, 60, 90, or whatever terms that you agree upon with the manufacturer or the supplier, where you only pay them every 2 weeks or every 4 weeks. Now, don't aim for this. Will you find a supplier and build a relationship where they allow this? Possibly. Is it possible that you won't? Most definitely. I've spent a lot of money with this guy, and I think he was new to market and wanted to really explode the product. So he bought this to me as an initiative for me to promote and move more product. So keep that in mind, guys, too, is net terms. All right, let's move on forward. PPC costs, better known as pay per click. So starting out, and we're going to talk about this in the PPC module, but starting out, you want to start at around $10 a day. And the beautiful thing about PPC, guys, with Amazon, which this is totally different with Facebook and totally different with Google. They want their money now. You can choose for your PPC bill to be taken out of your bi-weekly Amazon check. So the way we're going to set it up is we're going to set it up where you get paid every 2 weeks based on your sales. And then we're going to set it up to where your pay per click budget or your cost is taking out of that check. That way there's no credit card, there's no debit card, there's no checking, there's no upfront cost. So as soon as we start getting sales, you got 2 weeks to get sales up, and that's going to come out of there. So essentially it's no money out of pocket, which is very advantageous, because Google AdWords, I know, man, it's rough. Facebook, it's rough. It's really nice having that leverage with Amazon, where you can pay it out of your funds that you're creating every 2 weeks, which really helps for you to scale. You can want to raise your budget, which we're going to talk about different strategies. There's going to be a bonus on how I use PPC to spike the algorithm, which is really advantageous. Being able to use those sales to pay for your PPC is magical, because once you start spiking the algorithm and you're getting more sales, now you have more money to play with. So you can keep fooling around with the PPC and increasing it to get more sales, which, like I said, we'll talk about that in a later chapter. FBA shipment cost. This is going to be getting your product to the fulfillment center and then them dispersing it to different fulfillment centers throughout the United States. This is how they ensure that you can have prime shipping. So on your listing, you'll get the Prime badge, and all of the customers that purchase your product will receive their product within 2 days, which is just magical. It's phenomenal. This is why you want to do FBA. You don't want to do merchant fulfilled. I read the statistics that Amazon had, that they said that the conversion rate is nearly 30% more for people who sold fulfilled by Amazon or FBA versus seller fulfilled or merchant fulfilled. So that's definitely something that's advantageous. It's going to help you guys get the conversion. It's going to help you blow up. And, that's how Amazon built their user base, built their platform. Nobody in America was doing that. You get it very cheap. Believe me when I say very cheap, because I have a business FedEx account. I have a business UPS account that we use for Shopify, and we use for some of our other businesses. And I've compared them, and we do several $100,000 with UPS outside of Amazon, and our fees are nowhere in comparison to their fees. It's just ridiculous. But they're doing hundreds of millions of dollars with these companies. So you can only expect what the savings are going to be. But you can see here they offer FedEx, UPS, USPS, which is the United States Postal Services, or LTL accounts. What LTL accounts are is when you're shipping pallets, multiple pallets. And I'm sure you guys seen on my YouTube channel, I showed a couple videos of of my weekly shipments. I ship LTL. For one product, I ship 8 pallets per week. 250 boxes per pallet is 2,000 units or 2,000 boxes. With our account, it was going to cost almost $2,000, and we do a lot of revenue with the LTL company. And using Amazon, $262.50. So look at that savings. It's nowhere even in the ballpark. So logistically, it makes sense. Amazon's making logistics very user friendly and very affordable for you to scale your company. Outside of this is one of the most complications. In Shopify or e-commerce or however else you plan on selling, shipping will eat into your margins. So Amazon having this discounted shipping and offering this FBA for the consumers is just groundbreaking. So with that being said, this is the first section, introduction to the business world and selling on Amazon. And stay tuned for the next section.